everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber, or welcome if you are new. My name is Ellie and I recently completed Disney's Cultural Representative Program. This is basically a program where you get to work and live in Walt Disney World for a year in Epcot. I worked in the United Kingdom Pavilion, so I worked over in the Rose and Crown. I worked there in the years 2018 to 2019, so a couple of years ago now, but I had a lot of people messaging me asking me the same questions all the time, so I figured why not just make a series and talk about everything to make it easier for everyone. So this video is basically going to be about being prepared for the CRP. I had a lot of people asking me the actual costs of the program. I obviously did my... Sorry, it's my dog. I obviously did my program in 2018, so a lot of the things I was paying for and buying was back in 2018, so I'm not sure how accurate all the prices are and stuff now. But yeah, so that's definitely something to bear in mind. It's also really difficult to say how much the CRP costs as a whole, because it depends on how much money you want to take, how much you want to do when you first get there. A few things that you have to pay for before you even get to the US. One of them is going to be your Disney housing fee. I talked about this before in a previous video. It's $110, and that is a non-refundable fee. That's basically to pay for like housing events, buses, stuff like that. This is something you have to pay. There's no way of getting out of it. Other things you have to pay for is going to be your flight. So this could be something from £300 to maybe £1,000 depending on the time of year that you're traveling. If it's in the summer, it might be more expensive. I know a lot of people that actually paid for a return. They just didn't obviously use the return trip because it was a lot cheaper than a one-way, so definitely look into that. It depends on the airline you use as well. Obviously airlines like Virgin, BA, things like that are more expensive. I use Norwegian, which is more of a budget airline, and it was fine. I had a great experience, and obviously you're so excited on the way, it doesn't matter if you're on a budget airline. Along with the flight, you might have to stay in a hotel before you check into housing. So the housing checking is on a Monday. They recommend that you give yourself at least a day in between just to get settled and to move in between. I traveled on the Saturday, landed the Saturday, stayed in a Disney hotel for 2 nights, and then moved into housing on the Monday. I shared the hotel with people from the same arrival group. We split it. It was quite cheap. Staying on Disney property is obviously a lot easier because housing is quite close by and you're moving a lot of luggage, and you can get the Magical Express from the airport, so that is good as well because that's free, all included. But obviously you don't have to stay on Disney property. Another thing you have to pay for before you even leave the UK is going to be your visa appointment. So you're going to have to travel to the US Embassy in the UK, so in London. So obviously I had to pay for the train, but if you live further away, perhaps in Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, then you might have to pay for a flight, so that's definitely something to consider as well. So the US Embassy appointment does cost. You have to pay to attend it. I actually have a really old list here from 2018. So I've got my criminal background checked. That is going to be £85. You have your Disney program assessment fee, which is $225. Your US Embassy appointment costs $190, and the courier of your passport, so getting it back to your house, is going to be £30. So I totaled it all up in dollars, converted it to pounds, and at the time it was just over £300. So that's everything for your visa appointment. This obviously doesn't include my travel, things like that. You have to pay for a picture to go on your visa, just like a little passport photo. But yeah, before you even get out there, you're spending like the big bucks. That pretty much covers everything that you have to pay for before you get to the US. Obviously there's going to be things like clothes, toiletries that you might like, books, silly things like that that you're going to pay for just as if you were going on holiday. I did want to do a whole packing video where I went into Primark and various shops and stuff and showed you the things that I would buy. Obviously with the current situation with coronavirus, I can't exactly go out and do that, so hopefully that's something I will do in the near future. When you get to Florida, you obviously are gonna move into housing and then start work about a week later. Now the first week you don't do any work, so you don't get paid, so that means they don't take any rent out of your paycheck. So the second week they take double rent. So when you get there, you don't get paid for a couple of weeks. Obviously this is absolutely fine, but you still need to feed yourself. You're gonna feel really sociable, so you're gonna wanna go out all of the time with your friends. So I definitely recommend taking a minimum of probably about $1,000, and that's gonna be for everything that you need to buy for housing when you get there, because not only do you want spending money, but you're gonna have to buy bedding for housing, any cooking equipment that you might have, because housing only comes with the bare minimum of pots and pans and cutlery and stuff. I know I bought like a mashed potato masher, a potato peeler, you name it, like you're gonna need to buy it. Obviously you're gonna need to buy food for your apartment, all of your bedding, so the only thing that is in your apartment pretty much is a mattress. You're gonna need to buy sheets, a comforter, blankets, pillows, you name it, and you're gonna be spending a lot of money. Personally, I am a big saver rather than a spender, so if you do have the chance to save as much money as you possibly can, I 100% recommend doing that. Every month I just put away a certain amount and then I just turned it all into dollars. I took some cash, some on a prepaid card. That was just easier for me. I felt more safe doing that. So the more money you can take, the better. Not that you'll have a bad experience without money, but it just means you can go out and do whatever you want. Another thing I bought as soon as I got to the US, well, I say as soon as I got to the US, probably about 3-4 days in, because there's a period where you move into housing and then you don't actually have traditions or work or anything. You have like a few days off. I bought my universal annual pass. Obviously you don't have to buy an annual pass, but whilst I was living in Florida, I was like, I absolutely need one. I looked up the current prices for now. I feel like mine was about $300. Yeah, so originally I got the 2 parks preferred pass and it's $359.99, and the premier pass is when you can get in literally any time, and that's $500. And then later on into my program I then upgraded it to the 3 park pass option so I can get into Volcano Bay, and that's like over $100 more. Didn't do that when I first got there because I was like, I don't feel like I'm going to be going to the water park. I think I was blocked out with my pass because it was the summertime, but I did it later on, and I definitely recommend doing that as well. I really wanted to do a packing video. This is something I will try and do in the future if I do have the means to be able to do that. Another thing, I would just make your own packing list. I'd make a folder as well. I have a folder with like all plastic wallets, and I put everything in, put it all in order. This is something that I got from Adam Hatton, so I will link that video and his list below of everything that he recommends putting in there. Another thing I will quickly mention is that I did get a credit card before I started my program. I don't feel like this is something you need to have, but I personally wanted it as an emergency. Not everyone really gets one, but it was just good for me to have it in case anything did happen and I did need it. That pretty much concludes my video about being prepared, how much money you're gonna spend, etc, etc. If anyone has any other questions, please don't be afraid to ask down in the comment box or message me over on Instagram. It's just gonna be @EllieBrown. And remember to like, comment and subscribe and all those good things, and I'll see you next week.